Football. So much football. Newcastle Jets make a statement. Sydney FC slip again. And the new boys are impressing early so far this season. My name's Lockie. Welcome here to Coastwatch Football for the A-League Round 4 review. So let's jump into it right now. Going back to last Wednesday night, Melbourne City picked up a 1-0 win against Perth Glory. This was a tough game for City. Perth Glory defended really well for pretty much the whole game. Cameron Cook in goals was fantastic. He's pretty much the third choice keeper for Perth Glory with Liam Reddy and Brad Jones out with injury. So, the young keeper stepped up really well, and that defense is looking really solid for Perth Glory. And we're unlucky to, not be able to hold Melbourne City up for the whole of this game. And, City, a team who people have been a little bit concerned about so far this season after, they slipped against Adelaide United, that 2-goal lead that they had there, and they slipped to draw 2-2 in that one, and then of course losing to Western United 1-0 last week. And in this game, it almost happened again where they were unable to crack Perth Glory, but City did finally make the breakthrough and picked up the 3 points there. And I think you look at some of those key players, obviously one of the big talking points for City heading into this season, Matt Leckie, Andrew Nabbout, Jamie McLaren starting up front. Nabbout looks good. Jamie McLaren has been okay, relatively quiet. I think Matthew Leckie's been the one out of those three that has been underperforming the most. He doesn't seem to be on the same wavelength at times with the likes of, Connor Metcalfe, Jamison on that left-hand side for City. Connor Metcalfe gets really involved in the build-up play for Melbourne City, but yeah, just some passes going astray. The little movements, the quick movements that they like to play, that they like to make Melbourne City in the final third, just not quite clicking on that left-hand side for them at the moment. So look, it wasn't the most convincing performance from Melbourne City. They were definitely defensively solid. Perth Glory barely had a chance throughout this whole game. They were really, Perth, a side who defeated Melb Victory 3-0 last week. Were really unable to sort of break through the Melbourne City in any real to make any sort of effective forays into Melbourne City's box. So, look, a good win for Melbourne City just to steady the ship a little bit after some concerns have been raised. And for Perth Glory, it's been a mixed start for them so far this season. It was very important for them to get that win last week, those 3 points after, they've got so many away games still coming up. They're away to Brisbane next week. And whether Daniel Sturridge returns next week, we'll see. But of course, he was missing once again in this game. But as I mentioned, an important 3 points for Melbourne City. But let's shuffle on to Friday night, which was probably the game of the round, in my opinion. Just because how entertaining it was in terms of, not both sides, but one side in particular, absolutely tearing it up. Newcastle Jets have defeated Wellington Phoenix 4-0. And I made a specific match reaction video for this one. It's on the YouTube channel if you want to check it out, because I had to talk about it in detail because this was the most convincing performance we've seen in the A-League so far this season across the opening 4 rounds. And Newcastle Jets, a side who have been showing signs, showing promising signs throughout, the last few weeks. Lost the F3 derby, 2 draws, came back against Sydney FC last week and just were unstoppable in this game. The key players in attack, Becca Mikkeldatsi, Daniel Pena, Bamal, Valentino Yule. These 4 players in attack are looking really dangerous. And the combinations, the speed in attack. Wellington Phoenix, I mentioned in the match reaction, Wellington Phoenix, a side who defend really well and have good structure, were made to look silly in this game. That they were just torn apart. They were torn to shreds. And I think that was less about Phoenix sort of less about them having no sort of cohesion in defense, and more just about Jets just outplaying them in attack, too fast for them. The Becca Mikkeldatsi, the striker, the way that he drops back and gets involved in the play, super impressive. So this Jets side have made a statement. They're going to be challenging towards the top of the table, from what it seems so far. I actually, maybe it's too bold to say that just yet. Maybe they'll definitely be competitive in every single game. That's the thing. In every game they're going into now, they face Macarthur FC next week, which is going to be a really interesting game because Macarthur FC have been performing well as well. It's going to be really interesting to see how they go coming up against really these like top sides like Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory as well. So Wellington Phoenix, 2 consecutive losses after, again, what was a decent start for them. They got a win and a draw in the opening 2 rounds. So some things that Ufuk Taylor needs to figure out as well down there in Wollongong for Wellington Phoenix at the moment. On Saturday, we had some pretty interesting games. Western United picked up a 1-0 win against Brisbane Roar. Fantastic goal, stunning goal from Connor Payne, lovely finish. And look, for this game went pretty much as expected for me. A lot of the games have been very unexpected and have thrown up a lot of surprises, but this game was pretty predictable. Western United defensive structure has been sort of the name of their game so far this season. Leah Lacroix, they were without Leah Lacroix into this game, but Topper Stanley came in and did a fantastic job in his place. So, look, I think in attack, it's starting to click a little bit better for Western United now. Yet they are still not quite able to really get firing in an attacking sense. It's been, 3 consecutive 1-0 victories for them. And for Brisbane Roar, concerns for Brisbane Roar. They are now 4 games without a win. They need changes. They need to do something. I don't think the system's working. They did play a different formation. They shifted to a 4 at the back, which is I can't recall Brisbane playing a 4 at the back last season at all. This is a Warren Moon generally opts for 3 central defenders. So it was interesting to see Brisbane go with that style of football. And it's, with players coming in and out, the Argentine striker Lascano made his first A-League start in this game and didn't make too much of an impact. They've got to look for that right combination, the right formation. And it's something that I talked about in pre-season, losing Dan Zaki, Champness, Wenzel Halls. These were names on the team sheet for Brisbane who were just there week in, week out. And all 3 players left. And I'm concerned for Brisbane because it's not good signs at the moment, and they're going to need, hopefully, I'm not sure how far away Tom Aldred, their captain, is, but they need him. They need him coming back from injury, and they need him at the back just to provide that leadership and just a little bit of stability for Brisbane Roar. Because if they don't pick up a win soon, and in a very competitive A-League, they will miss out on the finals this year, which is rare. Brisbane we usually see finishing in the top 6. But Western United, these new boys, this is one of the things I want to talk about. These new teams, the new teams in Western United, Macarthur, looking really, really impressive so far this season. And, 3 consecutive wins to kick off the campaign. And that segues nicely into Macarthur FC, who defeated the Western Sydney rivals 2-0. The game was played down there at Combank Stadium. Western Sydney Wanderers heading into this game made some changes. Once again, Petratos coming into the lineup. Jack Rodwell was out with injury. And James Troisi made his first start for the A-League season. Troisi was probably the best player for the Wanderers too. I thought it was actually pretty impressive. Wanderers, of course, coming off the back of a really disappointing defeat in the FFA Cup. It was Wednesday night, I believe it was, against Apia Leichhardt. So look, in that game, the Wanderers fans, the pressure's been mounting on Carl Robinson. And heading into this game, I think there was an expectation to, back at home, let's get a good performance against, it wasn't going to be an easy game. And Macarthur FC made it tough for them. But yeah, the pressure is now mounting on Carl Robinson after this result. It is the first loss of the season, to be fair. They're 1 win, 2 draws, and 1 loss. So when you look at it in that sense, it doesn't look too bad. But the cup defeat certainly hasn't helped. And, the Wanderers fans, the Wanderers, as a club, we expect them to succeed. Their fans expect them to succeed. And if they aren't, especially at home, a really good stadium down there, they want to be making that a fortress as well. But Macarthur FC, man, defensively, again, just a standout performance from Macarthur FC, a team who, again, you look at the system that they're playing this season, and another team that plays with those 3 central defenders. Mariappa made his first A-League appearance in this game and slotted him perfectly into the middle of that back 3 alongside Tom Uskok, Shushna. Craig Noon has actually been doing really well. He's been playing in sort of like a right wing back role for Macarthur FC, which is more of a defensive position compared to what we saw him play at Melbourne City last year. But it's really working. Danny De Silva was fantastic in this game, involved in both goals for Macarthur FC. They were without De Vere, which is worth bringing up. The man who won the Johnny Warren Medal winner from last season. And even without him, they were able to create chances in attack, and they took those chances when they created them. And credit to Macarthur, who were able to sort of silence Wanderers, when they were getting forward. They were able to Philip Curter, once again, having a fantastic game in goals. But goals to Tommy Uskok and Jake Holman. Jake Holman with his first A-League goal as well. So, big win for Macarthur FC. But yeah, these new guys, Western United, Macarthur FC, are going to be towards the top of the table this season. There, it's really interesting seeing what both of those sides are building. 2 very different systems. And, the 2 coaches there, John Aloisi for Western and Tim Milicic for Macarthur, building something really nice there. The big one from the weekend as well, another big one was the original rivalry. We had Adelaide United taking on Melbourne Victory. First half was pretty chaotic, plenty of drama as we have to expect in these big derby games. Adelaide United heading into this game without a win, 3 draws, and Melbourne Victory coming off the back of a defeat last week against Perth Glory. Look, Adelaide United again they're showing promising signs, but again it's not clicking in attack for them. Whether is it? Do we have to talk about questions now of, is Cassini Yengi the right man to be leading the line for Adelaide United? I think he's certainly got potential. I still believe in Cassini Yengi. I think he's got a lot of skill, and his physique, he's got the potential to be that strong, goal-scoring striker to lead Adelaide United. But it's not clicking for them at the moment. They did look good, and they were creating opportunities. I believe they had 60% possession in this game, Adelaide United. But it was Melbourne Victory who took their chances when it came. And, Victory were missing some players. Obviously Raimashan out through suspension. They had a new look central defence partnership in Sporanovic and Roderick Miranda. But, it was a very competitive game, and there was drama left, right and centre. The goals did come in the second half. Macarthur, the Italian import, getting his first goal in the A-League. It was an own goal to Sporanovic, which led to the equaliser for Adelaide United. And then Volupele, the youngster for Victory, grabbing the winning goal in the 78th minute. And again, maybe we have to talk about Adelaide United and maybe some concerns for them. I don't think it's as worrying as maybe compared to Brisbane Roar for Adelaide United. I think there's, they've got way too much quality in that side. I think with, if Isaias stays fit for majority of the season, Craig Goodwin made his first start for the season. They really need him to get into some good form if they're going to, make a push for the top 6 this year. And from a Melbourne Victory perspective, it was important for them to come back with a win. They started those first 2 games really strong. Slipped against Perth Glory, and in this game to get a win, just to keep them, they're still in the top 3 now to kick off the season. So an important three points there for Victory. And then of course we have to talk about Sunday night. Central Coast Mariners, my Mariners' first home game of the season against Sydney FC. If you haven't seen my match reaction, I recommend you watch that because there's 15 minutes of me diving into that game, my analysis, my initial reaction after getting home from the game. And as well, I did a post-match interview with the fans where outside the stadium after the game, got some reaction from the fans. So if you want to check out that video, I'll make sure to leave that in the description. But overall, fantastic from the Mariners. Started so strongly, and that was, that is what helped us win in this game. The important start strong there. Got those 2 goals in the opening 16 minutes. Arenya, Muresh, fantastic in attack. Looking really, that partnership I reckon is going to be really dangerous this season. Side got Josh Nisbet. Look, I don't want to make any bold statements, but I think it's hard to find at the moment an attacking midfielder. Look, I'm not saying he's the best at the moment, but it's hard to find an attacking midfielder who is performing better than Josh Nisbet at the moment. I mean, again, I'm not saying he's the best, but you watch him and just the confidence that he plays with and his skill he's unstoppable at the moment. And I recall him taking on the likes of whether it was Joel King or even Milos Ninkovic on Sydney's left hand side, and just pipping the ball off them every single time. It was fantastic to watch. Lewis Miller got his first start of this A-League season, was fantastic as well. So many great performances for the Mariners. But from the Sydney FC side of things, concerns for Sydney FC, a side who we are so used to seeing towards the top of the ladder, and they're struggling, man. They're struggling. They're without a win. They've got 2 goals so far this season. They're 2 draws, 2 losses. Steve Corica has work to do. Look, it's early in the season. They've got plenty of time, and they've got, Bobo came back into the side in this game, but both Bobo and Lafondra really barely made too much of an impact in this game, and were withdrawn in this game. But it's almost as if I think maybe opposition teams are starting to figure them out now. Sydney FC, a side who, they're known for their depth as well and the quality that they have. But these Mariners youngsters, so many young players in this Mariners side. Harry Still, Dan Hall, Lewis Miller, Matt Hatch, Sekenis, Max Ballard, and the names go on and on. These guys were outperforming the likes of Ninkovic, Joel King, Paulo Retre, Lafondra. These names who are household names in the A-League. And we're getting the better of them. And Sydney FC have to... I dare say change their system. Sydney FC have played the same formation for 5-6 years. So, if you're a Sky Blues fan, I would be concerned because As I mentioned, though, it is early in the season, but there is a little bit of concern there now. After 4 games without a win, they've got to do something, and they've got a tough game next week against Wellington Phoenix. So, round 4 in the A-League, plenty of entertaining games, plenty of big results, as there always is. When we have a look at the ladder, the top 3 that sit up there, sitting up top on 10 points, Macarthur FC, tied on 9 points, Melbourne Victory and Western United. Sitting behind them in 4th is Melbourne City. So the 3 Victorian clubs up there in the top 4 at the moment. In 5th and 6th place, it's Central Coast Mariners and Newcastle Jets, 2 sides that are looking pretty good this season. Western Sydney Wanderers just sit outside the top 6 in 7th place, Perth Glory in 8th, 9th Wellington Phoenix, and then the 3 teams that are winless so far this season, Adelaide United in 10th, Sydney FC still second last, 11th place, and then sitting at the bottom at the moment, Brisbane Roar. So, who would have predicted this, heading into this season? The likes of Macarthur, West United towards the top, and then, Sydney FC, Adelaide, Brisbane, those 3 sides, all finished in the finals last season, now struggling towards the bottom of the ladder early in this season. So some interesting talking points coming out already. And guys, thanks so much for catching up with these round review videos and all of the content dropping here on YouTube. And of course, make sure you hit subscribe to stay up to date to everything if you aren't already. And if you have enjoyed this video, you feel free to give it a like, because it does help me out a lot. Have a great week, guys. Catch you on Thursday for the round 5 predictions. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you then. Woo!